In this episode, we're gonna turn this crazy bone meal farm into an incredible build fit for our massive hardcore world. Hello everyone! I wanna welcome you back inside our hardcore world to episode 23 of this hardcore season 1. This bone meal farm is looking really awesome, but I hope it's going to fit much better inside our world by the end of the episode. I spent a couple hours making a tiny storage system for all the bone meal that gets dropped down right here with a ton of hoppers to hopefully bring the bone meal all the way to our tree farm and our nether tree farm. So before we start working on the bone meal farm once and for all, let's find a way to make this actually completely useful by connecting it from underground. Let's first grab the coordinates of where the bone meal has to go. There goes the tree farm, and here goes our nether tree farm. Now all I need is a bunch of iron. There we go. So we can make plenty of hoppers, make our way towards the item stream, which should be somewhere around here. There we go. And for now I want to get rid of the water to make it much easier for building. First things first, we have to connect these hoppers, like so that when they get collected, they can flow all the way down. And same thing at every intersection. And of course here we can cover everything back up. And now it's just a matter of reaching all of the farms from underground. Awesome, the tunnels have been dug, so now I'm just gonna place in all of the hoppers. Now slowly putting inside the water and the ice. Awesome, all of the water has been placed correctly, so now we have to figure out a way to get the items from down here all the way to where they have to go. Well my friends, I'll be back when I have a solution, because for now I have absolutely no idea. Welcome back my friends. Let me show you what I decided to do. So although I wanted to use some sort of dropper elevator, I decided to stick with the good old bubble elevator. That's because it's completely quiet and requires very little redstone. However, as you can see, there's not a ton of storage for the bone meal, at least up here. So I decided to add a lever that we can flick when we use the farm to let the bone meal stream know whether we need bone meal or not. And of course when we stop using it, we can just flick it again and the bone meal stops coming up. In the nether tree farm instead, making our way inside, I also added a bubble elevator, but this time with no way to stop the dropper. Hello my friend. And that's because all around me there's a ton of chests, hence a ton of storage for the bone meal. Well, let's make our way back out, where we can go back to the bone meal farm, activate it. Perfect. Get inside our temporary AFK spot, and now I would like to wait a little bit for everything to fill up. So as you can see, the bone meal is being dropped down here, carried all the way over with the water streams to every single hopper, and then slowly making its way to the tree farm, and of course, to the nether tree farm. My biggest concern is the separation right here, so we might need to do something about this. But for now I want to see if the bone meal is able to reach the nether tree farm, instead of making its way straight to the normal tree farm. But to find out we have to wait my friends, so I'll see you when everything is full. Welcome back my friends! As you can see, all of these hoppers are completely full. And this nice water line is reaching nicely towards all of the farms. Now I had to make a little change right here at the intersection between the tree farm and the nether farm, because the bone meal was indeed just being transported right here. And as these hoppers are completely full, well, we were losing a ton of it. So instead, on the hopper right before the intersection, I added a comparator into a sticky piston that then pushes a block to diverge the water stream towards the nether tree farm, which right now is slowly being filled up. And of course all of the bone meal is being dropped into this water elevator and brought up inside these chests. It's not completely perfect, but I don't mind losing a little bit of bone meal here and there, because I'm pretty sure that we can actually afford it. Well my friends, I'm gonna wait for everything to fill up completely, so we can restock a little bit of our wood supply, and then we can figure out what to do with this whole farm. The day later, we have a bunch of bone meal in every farm, and as you can see I also took some time to connect these 4 farms to one single lever at the top. Some items are still coming down, so as we wait for everything to get sorted correctly, I finally decided what I want to do with this huge build. After reading a bunch of awesome comments, including my friend BXWorld, who said we should turn this whole build into a giant statue, and my friend Savages Cabbages, awesome name by the way, who mentioned we can turn all of this into a huge volcano, I decided to go with my friend Valentine, who suggested we turn all of this into a giant clock tower. And the more I think about it, the more I love the idea. Not only because I think it's gonna look absolutely incredible, but because I've also never built something like this. So I think it's going to be a neat little challenge. And thank you all so much for these amazing suggestions. But of course, with a huge build like this, we're going to need a ton of resources. So let's put all this bone meal to good use, grab a bunch of saplings, activate the TNT duper, which hopefully still works correctly. Perfect. Activate the bone meal dispenser, and finally start the farm. Well, my friends, I'm going to be here for some time, so I'll see you when all of the wood has been gathered. And a couple hours later, this should be plenty to get us started. So it's time to switch off the farm, stop this TNT duper. There we go. And of course the bone meal dispenser as well. Perfect. Now let's sleep the night, so we can go and see how much stone we have, because we're probably going to need a lot for this build. We'll also need some stone bricks, and some cobblestone, and maybe some andesite as well for decoration. And although this is a good start, we're going to need some more. So let's check in this chest right here. Oh yes, much better. Alright, now we can bring all of this to the bone meal farm, so we can grab the remaining items. Alright, now we need to grab some gravel, perfect, and some sand, with some bone meal, convert it into white dye, and finally make white concrete powder. But I'm afraid 32 is not really going to be enough, so let's grab some sand. The sand has been successfully gathered, so now we can make our way back home. And as we are inside the nether, let's see if we have some quartz, just a little bit, that we can turn into blocks of quartz to add some decorations to our build. And of course I also want to mend my items, and we can also get to level 500. And now with our items mended, we can drop all of this sand right here. And now we're one step closer to building this whole thing. I also want to grab all of this wood and of course bring it right here. And before planning this whole thing out, I want to take some time to organize all of these chests. Alright, now it's much easier to see what we have to work with. So I want to grab a bunch of stone bricks and start planning out this entire build. Alright, something like this is a great start, and now we can start bringing everything up. Alright, I think this is tall enough. I really think it's important for buildings like these to have a very strong and big foundation. Now we can take some birch and bring everything inside by one block. And now we can grab some sand, make some sandstone, and smelt it into smooth sandstone. Shouldn't take long. There we go. Let's do this a bunch more times to make sure that we do not run out of smooth sandstone. And as we wait for all of it to smelt, let's start bringing some of this all the way up. Alright, there we go. Now I want to bring it all the way up with smooth sandstone, and roughly at 3/4, I want to open it back up to have some sort of an arrow shape, where we're going to have the clock in the middle. Well, I have quite a lot of blocks to place, so I'm going to start right away. And yes, my friends, there were so many blocks to place, I had to keep going back to gather more and more sand. It seemed like I was never going to get this build done. On top of that, because I was melting all my sandstone into smooth sandstone, my super smelter ran out of fuel. So I had to make a trip to the nether to collect a lot of blaze rods to get the smooth sandstone to finally finish this part of the build. But finally, after what seemed to be forever, I was able to bring the walls all the way up. Welcome back my friends! Here we are, the next day for me, and I finally finished adding all of the smooth sandstone that I thought that this build needed. And I must say that there's quite a lot. And right now, it's time to work on the upper section of the build with some white blocks. I was thinking something like white concrete, quartz, and smooth quartz. And maybe a little bit of wool here and there if I get to it. But mainly white concrete. So let's just sleep the night. Well, that was awfully close. And grab all of this beautiful white concrete powder, make a little hole right here, where we can add the white concrete powder, add a 1-block border. I have no idea why I just filled it back up. Give me 1 second. Alright, much better. And because I do not have an automatic concrete converter, I think it's time to convert all of this white concrete powder into white concrete. Well, that took longer than I'm willing to admit, but now that it's done, we have a ton of white concrete. So let's see what we can do with the top of this build, starting by making our way up. This wasn't my first landing, by the way. And now I really want to understand the shape. I would love some sort of an arrow shape, like those typical grandfather's clocks, but I have no idea how to make it. So I guess it's time to try something out and hope for the best. Alright, and I think something like this should do. Now I really hope it's going to look cool from down below, but I'm going to repeat the same pattern on the opposite side, so that we can see the whole outline. And I also think that for now, I'm gonna get rid of this beacon, so that we can see the whole thing much better. Alright, with this design repeated on the opposite side, this is basically how the clock tower is going to look. It's quite flat, however, so right here, I would like to add another little design that kind of matches this huge one right here. Alright, I actually built this side one block too far, so let me tear it down and build it correctly. Alright, this is looking much better already. And we also have an unexpected guest. And because I do not want him to cause any issues... There we go. It just vanished, I swear. And I just thought about it, but as I build this thing, I really do not want items to fall inside these droppers. So I'm gonna build a little grass platform on top of everything to make sure that all of the redstone down here is protected. Alright, there we go. And this one should really be the last dirt platform. Let's go grab some torches, 10 should be plenty, and now we can light everything up. Awesome, now no mobs can spawn up here. Well, my friends, with the amount of time it took me to build all of this thing, it's already time to stream. I stream every single Wednesday evening on YouTube, so if you haven't checked out the streams yet, I would love to have you around. I would love to get this top section done with the basic blocks, exactly as we did in the bottom sections, so I'll see you at the end of the stream. Let's go! What an awesome stream this was! We got a lot of the top section done, but we ran out of concrete. So we spent a ton of time gathering more and more, and we also got a nice visit from the neighbors. A huge thanks to everyone who joined in. Oh yes, my friends, quite a productive stream. We were able to make this little concrete converter, completely manual but works like a charm thanks to my friend Roy. Then we worked on the front facade of the top section of this clock tower, still missing all of this though. And towards the end of the stream, I was really curious to see how everything was going to look with the wood, so I decided to add a little bit of oak logs just to make sure that it was gonna look fine. And by the looks of it, I think it's gonna look really cool. So I guess I'm going to keep converting concrete powder into concrete, finishing the top section once and for all, and once that's done, we can start putting the wood together. I also reactivated the beacon, by the way, for regeneration and a little bit of jump boost like you can see on the top right corner. Well, my friends, you know how it goes. Let's go! It was taking so long to convert my concrete, so I built an awesome concrete converter. More on that later. And kept converting. Once I had all of the concrete that I needed, it was time to finish the top section of the build once and for all. Hello everyone! Finally finished the top section of the build, and I completely lost count of how many white concrete stacks this took, but definitely more than 50. Well, my friends, now that all of the base coating has been done, this thing looks truly massive. It's incredible because this build looks huge, but compared to this one, it's still very small. Also, before we place all of the wood down, this little thing right here is a little concrete converter farm. I place down the concrete powder right here, it gets automatically turned into concrete, and this observer is connected to this dropper that supplies concrete powder every single time we place one down, so we never run out. And I must say it's so tiny, but also so useful. For now, however, we can drop all of this white concrete, grab all of this oak, because it's time to work on all of the wood around the base. I also wanna grab some stone bricks, just in case we need to add some detail to the bottom. Something like this. Now let's start bringing everything up. Oh, and I still have to figure out what to do with this back section, cause right now it looks very weird. Alright, the first layer is done, now onto the second layer. And the second and third layer are done as well, and slowly this build is really starting to take shape. Now before working on the upper section, I would love to quickly plan out the roof, so that we know where to start the second section. And I don't really know what block to build it with, but I was thinking something along the lines of copper. But I don't know if we have enough, so let's scour around and see if we find some. And wow, this thing is really big. Well, here's some more copper, and if I'm not mistaken there should be some more right here. Well, there's definitely some copper ore, and here's some more. Oh yes, there we go, that's more like it. I'm pretty sure this is going to be enough copper, so let's make our way back to this crazy structure. So we can drop all of this oak for now, grab our money maker, make our way towards the super smelter, turn all of these blocks of raw copper into raw copper, and place everything inside the chest. The chest is full, so we can use these barrels just to store the remaining copper. And now we can place down this raw copper in a very unnatural pattern and fortune it all down. Alright, there we go. And this gave us 2 full barrels and a little to spare. Meanwhile, everything is being dispensed correctly by this chest and going automatically inside this other chest. So let's grab all of this copper, turn it into cut copper, and make cut copper stairs. Now as the super smelter is doing its thing, we can keep working on the build. With some andesite, we can make some polished andesite stairs, which I plan to use as a little trim. So let's place this down right here at the front, so that we can see how everything looks. Alright, there we go. And I must admit now it looks a little bit weird with this huge contrast between the smooth sandstone and the cut copper, but I hope that when everything is going to oxidize, the contrast between the andesite, the cut copper and the sandstone is gonna look much better. Well, I guess I'm going to keep doing the same thing all around the whole design. Need some more andesite stairs just to finish this trim. There we go, the trim is done. So now just gotta extend all of this copper. There we go, first layer is done. Second layer is done as well, and now just putting in the last layer. So from afar, this thing is actually starting to take shape. And now I would really like to work on this facade, just to tie everything neatly together. Awesome, there we go. Now I can drop all of this copper temporarily and this andesite, get some stone bricks and some polished andesite, make my way on the roof, and starting from the front, break a couple blocks strategically, just like that, replace them with polished andesite, and this will be the foundation of the next pillars. Let's see how this looks. Oh yes, now I want to do this all around, just to understand where all of the pillars are going to be. I might just leave this back section for now, because I still have to figure out what to do with all of this. So let's move forward here. Alright, there we go. I think this placement is gonna look very nice. So it's time to bring everything up. Awesome, something like this should do. Now it's time to bring in a little pathway. There we go. Now it's time to take some birch and some more oak just in case, so we can add a nice little floor. And of course we're gonna go ahead and strip this. And I get the feeling that by the time we're finished building this, all of this copper is gonna be correctly oxidized. Time to strip all of the birch. Trying to watch out not to strip the oak as well. Awesome, just like that. And now it's time to bring everything up to make it look much more interesting. I think something like this should be pretty interesting, so let's repeat it all around. Awesome, and all the pillars have been put in place, so now it's time to work on the roofs. Alright, the front side has been done, now let's finish all the other sides. This is gonna take a long time. Top section's done. Now the bottom sections are done, so just missing these 2 middle sections. Alright, there we go. Now for the second section of the middle part, I wanna put down some pillars. There we go, something like this. Now time to grab the oak, and you guessed it, bring everything up. Alright, the framing is done, so now let's move to the second layer. Alright, the second layer has been put into place as well, and because I really like this little walkway right here, I think I want to do the same thing on this layer. Awesome, something like this is perfect. And of course, just like we did on the other walkway, let's place down birch as the floor. Now of course we have to go ahead and strip it. Alright, just like that. And now we just have to bring everything up. Alright, just like that. Now I just want to raise the corners by a couple blocks, just to add some more variation. Now I want to grab the stairs, and I definitely need some more andesite. There we go. And I just realized I have so much coal that we should probably put it to good use inside of the super smelter. Alright, now we can put all of this coal inside the super smelter and smelt all of the remaining copper. And as the super smelter is doing its thing, with all of the stairs we just grabbed, let's give this whole walkway a nice little highlight. I'm thinking something as simple as this. Let's try it on one side and see how it looks. Yeah, I think this can actually look pretty cool. Just wanna grab a little bit of oak so we can connect these pillars to the wall, just to make it look more natural. And on top here I think I'm going to add some stairs and some copper blocks. Now I wanna repeat this whole design all around, of course, with the nice little highlight trim, the oak, the stairs right here, and the copper blocks. And of course I cannot forget about the top section. And I think with that, the top section is completely done. And now, although I've been putting it off for all this time, it's time to add in the clock. The only reason I've been delaying it is because I have absolutely no idea how to do it. But whether I like it or not, the only way to find out if we can actually make this build look awesome is to keep going. So let's grab some more oak, some white concrete just in case, some glowstone, and some polished andesite. Now I have to find the middle of this thing, so I guess all I can do is start counting. And I think the middle should be right here, so now I think it's time to get some temporary blocks, dirt should do, and now it's time to start planning out this whole section of the build. So yes, my friends, this thing looks truly incredible. It took such a long time to get the design right, but I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. I haven't added the little arms yet, just because I don't know what time I want it to be. So if you have a particular time in mind, let me know in the comments, and I'm going to set the arms to that time. Now I just need some more oak, and hopefully we have some right here. Yes, perfect. Because I want to finish this side of the build. And although I would love to copy this whole design on the back, because of this redstone line it's not really gonna be possible. But before thinking about the back, let's go ahead and finish the sides. Now just a little separation in the middle, one side is done, and now the other side as well. Hello my friend, please don't blow up. I also need some more rockets. Perfect. Now let's work on the bottom side, one side done, and now to work on the second side. And now second side done as well. Wow my friends, this is looking truly incredible. I think it's the first time that I work on such a massive project, and all of this in Minecraft Hardcore. What I would like to do now is just add a couple details to make it look much better overall. So let's put down everything that we do not need, grab a lot of spruce, turn it into planks, make some stairs, some trapdoors, and with these sticks, some fences, and some fence gates as well. I also want to grab some chains and some torches to make a bunch of lanterns, so we can sprinkle them all around. Now let's just start with this pathway by adding a little fence to make it a little bit safer, and of course we can do the same thing on the bottom side. There we go, with some lanterns to prevent the mob spawning, and of course some stairs to make these archways look much better. And now some trapdoors to finish it off. Oh yes my friends, this is already looking so much better. So let's keep adding details on the front. With some stairs on these pillars, there we go. Some upside down stairs on these arches, with some trapdoors of course. And of course a couple windows, with some glowstone in the back, some fences in front, some blinds, and of course a little balcony. Oh yes, something like this. Time to do the same thing on the other side. Oh yes. Now I want to work on these little squares right here. No windows this time, I just want them to look a little more circular, something like this. And maybe we can make a little interesting pattern with the stairs to give it some more depth. Alright, something like this should do. Now the only things missing are this little thing right here, and of course this right there. So let me grab a bunch of walls, make my way up, and just add the walls right here. And maybe a stair in the middle. Let's do the same thing all around. Now I wanna grab some birch, turn a little bit into planks, and here in the middle I just wanna place it down. Now that it's all placed, I'm gonna break some of it randomly and replace it with planks. And now I can strip all the remaining birch. And just like this facade looks incredible. And I think it's a great start for this whole build. But my friends, this video already took such a long time, and it's already pretty late. So although I wanted to get all of this thing finished by the end of the episode, I think that for now this is as far as we can build. But don't you worry, I really intend to finish this very soon, cause I can't wait to see how it's going to look when it's done. Let me know if you have some ideas for the back. I was thinking something like a chimney or a little tower that runs all the way up. But if you have some other ideas, let me know in the comments as well. But my friends, with this massive clock tower built, I think it's time that we move to the naming. Starting with my friend Ale, who would like me to name a melon slice. Ale. So there you go, my friend. Then we have my friend Destiny, who asks if she can be a cow or a dog. But I'm pretty sure that Destiny is already with us. Yes, there we go. With our friend Musi and Milk. And my friend Epsilon asks if he can be the door of our house. So let me just grab this one and rename it to Epsilon, so we can place it back down. There you go, my friend. And my friend Isaiah asks if we can rename a golden helmet to Isaiah's crown. So there you go, my friend. And my friend Raywox asked me to rename anything in this world after him. And because Ray reminds me of the sun, let's go look for some sunflowers. Slowly but surely. There we go. Let's just take a bunch. Perfect. And now we can make our way back home. Here we are. Now we can rename the sunflower to Raywox. And break the anvil in the process and place it right here. There you go, my friend. And I just realized I had some sunflowers right here. And my friend Space Farm Girl would like me to name a black cat Zelda, but I have no idea where to find one. So for now we can put the name right here alongside all the other names that I still did not get a chance to assign. And last but definitely not least, my friend Wizard Gamer would like me to name a netherite scrap Wizard, and if I'm not mistaken I should have one right there. There we go. Now just need to rename it to Wizard and place it inside our trophy room. Voila! Thank you all so much for these amazing names. My friends, I wanna thank you all so much for watching, and I cannot wait for next episode when we're gonna finish this whole build once and for all. Don't forget to leave me a comment for the time and for what you would like me to do right here in the back of the tower. And of course I wanna wish you all an incredible day. My name is Lonely, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye! Wow, this thing is truly epic.